Hello and welcome back. So I'm changing up the format. I know I keep changing up the format of this as I just kind of keep trying new things. Um, the most important thing is I've kind of realized that this takes longer than I thought it would. And I think just kind of putting a time constraint on it just kind of forces me to try to rush through it. And I just feel like anytime I put time constraints on myself for anything, it just kind of like I end up just kind of like stressing myself out more than I need to. So rather than doing that, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to read through an hour. And however long that takes me to go through a magazine, it takes me to go through a magazine. If it takes me 5 episodes, it takes me 5 episodes. So it is what it is. And that's how I'm going to be doing it. I'm also, my work schedule is going to be changing. So I don't know when I'm going to be doing these, and that's not great, but it's hard with my work schedule. It's hard to figure everything out. But anyway, let's get back into magazining the seventh. Control F. Okay. So this page, it's Connect, it's loose talk, it's gossip, it's basically just little news bits. Um, so why don't I start getting into it? I do need to kind of keep track of the time because I need to be to work in an hour and a half, so I need to be done. This needs to go about an hour. Anyway, so Nintendo waves off third parties. Nintendo has always been known to be almost antagonistic towards third party publishers, and from what we heard at E3, things haven't changed. Every developer and publisher we talked to said they hadn't heard about Nintendo's Wii Motion Plus until the actual press conference. That's not a good start if you're trying to get third parties on board with developing for the peripheral and therefore convincing customers that it's worth their while. LucasArts in particular wasn't happy at being kept in the dark, especially since it's created Star Wars, the Clone Wars lightsaber duels. Oh, I read through this, didn't I? I think this is where I kind of got frustrated. The game was even included in Nintendo's press conference. The setting in which Wii Motion Wii Motion Plus was introduced, which the game doesn't use much to LucasArts' dismay. If this is Nintendo's attitudes regarding its new peripheral and third-party adoption, don't expect Wii Motion Plus to be adopted by many. And the reality is, that is a very good prediction by Game Informer because they are correct. Ultimately, Nintendo did not market it well, did not push it well. It wasn't well supported, and there weren't many games that used it. I mean, it just Google it, go to Wikipedia. I guarantee it's not many. No Second Amendment for avatars. Microsoft plans to let players earn or buy new clothes for their avatars, but Loose Talk has heard. Oh, I wonder if that's like a. I wonder what that is because it's all capitalized. Loose Talk. Loose Talk has heard one particular accessory will not be allowed. Weapons. We talked to third-party developer who wanted to allow players to earn weapons from their game, which would be shown on avatars, but Microsoft wouldn't allow it. Whether this is because the interaction with the avatar is impossible or because Microsoft doesn't want avatars to be toting guns is unknown. Regardless, the company plans for gamers who garner a certain number of achievements in games to win clothing for their avatars. You know, they had guitars and other things. I can't think of any weapons. I think they would have shields, but I don't think they ever did have weapons. I guess that was a stance that Microsoft had with avatars. Freezed out? Fans of Freeze Pop who are looking for their next dose of the synth group in Rock Band 2 will be disappointed. The band whose Casson Crooker works on the game doesn't appear on the retail disc. This, however, is only a temporary loss as Loose Talk has heard that material from the group will be made available via a DLC song pack after the title's release. Oh, I'm an idiot. This is called Loose Talk, and that's why they're okay. So they're the Loose Talk. I'm an idiot. seeing Loose Talk again and then it was capitalized by that, I was like, wait, is that the name of this segment? And it is. I'm just an idiot. Name that game. Test your site. Aerosmith's appearance in its own Guitar Hero spin-off isn't the Boston's first flirtation with video games. Back in 1994, this Midway arcade game featured first-person rail shooting via a cabinet with pistol controllers. Wait, what? The game was also later released for a variety of home consoles, including the Genesis and PlayStation. In the game, you're destroying the New Order, a brainwashing organization that has captured your favorite band. Answer on page 52. At the movies. Sony starts TV movie downloads. This is going to be interesting to see what it was like in. Which one is this? Which. I should know. 2008, September 2008. So, what were movie prices originally in September 2008? Gamers expected Sony's the downloadable television and movie service to debut last year, but were pleasantly surprised when Sony revealed it was ready to go last month. At E3, the company announced it secured a stable of partners including Sony Pictures, Fox, Paramount, Lionsgate, Disney, MGM, Warner, Turner Entertainment, and Funimation. We spent time with the service and checked out some of its features. This is by no means a definitive review, so we suggest you check it out the store yourself and head over to Sony PlayStation's website for more info. Which, by the way, they don't do this anymore. What's on TV? Movie rentals range from $2.99 to $5.99 in both standard definition and high definition. That's not any like $6 for high def. That's not anything like it's probably a couple dollars more now. You can also purchase films for $3 to $14.99, which once again, I don't know. I haven't bought many movies, but I don't think they cost that much more. Probably like $20 now. TV shows in both formats start at $1.99 and are readily available for purchase. Yeah, TV shows were always insane to me what they were charging for episodes. Similar to Microsoft's service, after renting a movie, you have 2 weeks to download it and 24 hours to view the content after the first time it's played. Unfortunately, each movie has its own specifications. For example, you can't rent Spider-Man 2 in standard definition. It's only available as a SD purchase or HD rental, but 310 to Yuma was only available as an SD purchase, $14.99. Due to the sheer size it would take up on your hard drive and time it would take to download such a large file, there aren't high definition movies for purchase on your PlayStation 3. Wait, really? They didn't have that at launch? That's weird. Sony has a PC-based store site shown for downloading to your PSP, but it is not the same as what you can access on your PS3. Since the PC's front is enabled for you to download content onto your PSP, it doesn't have any HD content. Doing the download. Here's a quick run through of downloading and watching the new video content on your PSP and PS3. PS3 for $1.99 we bought a hilarious episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Dayman. The 335 megabyte file took approximately 35 minutes to download on a wired connection. We only started watching it after only 13% of the file was downloaded, and this got us about 7 minutes into the episode before it had to pause and buffer. Waiting until your file is halfway downloaded will probably get you through without having to wait until it's finished. You can also perform the download in the background. 35 minutes for 335 megabytes. PSP. The PSP requires that you download the 4.05 PSP update and the updated PSP downloader program, which acts as the bridge between your PC and PSP. Okay. Rules of the game. Renting or purchasing a show on your PS3 or PSP and then transferring to the other platform is possible with certain caveats. some of which are outlined below. Rentals can only be downloaded, played on a single PS3, PSP, cannot be re-downloaded. Purchases can exist simultaneously on a PS3, on a single PS3 and up to three PSPs, but it can only be downloaded by one PS3, PSP and cannot be re-downloaded. Transferring. Cannot transfer content from your PSP to PS3. Rented videos can be transferred to your PSP, but once you do that, it can no longer be played on your PS3. Okay. How many people do you think bought or rented a game on or rented a movie on their PS3 and then transferred it to their PSP? I'm going to guess not many. Okay, that's an ad for the Army. Okay. Top fives. So it looks like this guy is Glenn Schofield. I know he made Dead Space, and then he went on to, oh God, I can't. He went on to make something after Dead Space. His favorite game is Resident Evil 4. Was at this point. Gunstar Heroes, the Sega Genesis. I don't know anything about that. Silent Hill, not surprising. Baldur's Gate 2. I guess that one is a little bit more surprising. And then Halo Xbox. The only reason why I say Baldur's Gate is surprising is it's not really like any of the others. The others, he's clearly like a console guy, but then Baldur's Gate 2 is like super, super PC. Reader, Preston Benton. Preston was really into the Guitar Hero series. Greg Hastings tournament, Paintball Max. I've done this before. I know I have. The Halo series, Luigi's Mansion, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Okay. Top 10 reactions heard at E3 2008. Top 10. Number 10. I doubt she's ever been snowboarding. Number 9. You know, even if she has been snowboarding, I still don't care. Number 8. Excuse me, sir. Am I in the right place? Is this E3? Number 7. Wow. A mashed potato bar? Okay, wait, what? There was a mashed potato bar? Number 6. TGS is already guaranteed to be so much better than this. I don't know if it was. Avatars, eh? This is going to be even worse than I thought. Are you seriously talking to me about the PS2, which was number 4? 3. This is so awesome. Psych. 2. Polite, uncertain applause. And number 1. Wii Music. I quit. Knights of the Old Republic MMO confirmed. EA CEO speaks on BioWare's MMO plans. This game does end up coming out, and I think it's largely successful. For a while now, we've heard both official and unofficial talk about two BioWare projects, a partnership with LucasArts for a game and an MMO for which the developer opened a satellite studio in Austin, Texas in 2006. Recently, the BioWare parent company Electronic Arts revealed that they are in the same game. Okay. Recently, BioWare parent company EA revealed that they are the same game, a Knights of the Old Republic MMO. I don't know why I had trouble comprehending that. EA CEO John Riccitiello revealed the game is speaking to Condé Nast's Portfolio.com. Riccitiello said that EA has two of the most compelling MMOs in the industry in development. The first title, based on the Warhammer property, will launch soon, and the one that people are dying for us to talk to them about in partnership with LucasArts, with Lucas, coming out BioWare, which is, I think, quite possibly the most anticipated game, full stop, for the industry at the point when we get closer to telling you about it. Okay, that's a bit much, Rick. When asked if he was referring to a KOTOR MMO, Riccitiello said yes, or replied yes. Carmack takes his rage to EA. id Software to publish anticipated racer with new partner. John Carmack and id Software have had a long and glorious relationship with Activision, but at this year's E3, that publisher's chief rival, Electronic Arts, announced a new partnership with Carmack and id. The legendary developer took the stage at EA's press conference to announce that Rage will be published by EA. Was it ultimately published by EA? I can't remember. The game is slated to come out for PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. EA Partners really is a good match for an independent studio like id because it gives us full access to the worldwide marketing muscle of EA without taking away any of our ability to build games and design them the way we think it should be done, Carmack said. Rage is a new title for us with new technology and new publishing partner, and it really does signal a new vision for id Software. Rage is an intriguing mix of first person action and driving in a barren desert like setting. Carmack says that he wants the game to introduce a world of colorful characters, and he showed a brief trailer showing some of the game's drivers. I will say I haven't played Rage. I've played Rage 2. I was really excited about Rage 2 in a weird way. And then I played it and I was like, how can a game with this great of shotgun be this bad? It didn't make sense. Mushroom Men. I don't know what this is, but I think I'm gonna have to play it because it came out on the Wii and DS. Will Wright. William Wright. Oh, okay. My cat was making noises, so I had to go check on her. Will Wright. So this is an interview or an interview with Will Wright. Garage Days, Big Dreams, First Hit, Getting Planetary, Bought Out, Massive Success, Legendary Status, Innovating. Okay. Chief Designer, Maxis. I just want to make sure. Okay. Yep. As the creator of all things sim, Will Wright is perhaps the most respected designer in all of video games. His upcoming Spore, the follow up to his record breaking Sims franchise, looks to be one of the most innovative games in years. Your entire career has been letting players experiment with manipulating simulations of the real world. Do you see Spore as the culmination of your previous games? I don't know if I'd call it a culmination. I think it takes into account a lot of the previous work. Look at things like Sim Earth. A lot of aspects of that came into Spore. Also Sim Life, Sim City, and The Sims. I think you learn from every project and try to incorporate that knowledge into what you're working on in the future. Is there any one part of the game that proved to be more of a challenge than you thought it was going to be? We understood the technical challenges we were facing, aspects of how to make the content really comprehensible, how to procedurally generate all of this stuff, especially the animations. I think the design challenge was larger than expected. Getting these editors to be easy to use, and number two, incorporating all of these genres into what felt like a singular experience. We wanted something that had a single interface. Doing that across genres turned out to be quite a challenge. I'm kind of confused what this is. Because this like ends generations that life has had. I have no idea what this is. This is. I don't know. I'm kind of confused by this. Generations that life has had to evolve to where it is. So I think giving someone an overview of life on Earth up to where we are now frames the whole subject in a different way. For most people, a million years is about the same as a billion years, but they are vastly different. Most people can't begin to comprehend those timescales. So you look at something as complex as a human being and you wonder, how could this have possibly evolved? when you take into account how many generations it has been happening, it's pretty remarkable. So I never played Spore. I am familiar with it. You just kind of start out as this little being, and then you end up becoming a civilization, and then like space travel. I think is like the ultimate goal. I don't. I think it ends up being like ambitious, having a lot of aspects to it, but then it ends up being pretty simple and execution. So do you see it, the game as a promoting evolution? I think people can take different things away, take away different things. If you look at the game, you're actually in the role of an intelligent designer, or not so intelligent, depending on the player. Laughs. I've seen people on the internet debating whether Spore was promoting intelligent design or evolution. Just getting people to have that discussion is worthwhile, but I personally fall very much on the evolution side of things. The game balanced you the game balanced you need to control the rough range of function. Like this is all very confusing. Like what is this? I don't know. How do you deal with the almost impossibly high expectations that people have for Spore? Do you feel that pressure? I think it's too much hype. About a year ago, we were realizing how much hype we were getting, and we decided we should start to say that it's going to suck just to dehype it. That is a certain amount of pressure. When people don't know much about something, they tend to fill in the blanks the way you want them to be filled in. That's true of almost anything. Then when the actual thing comes out, some people will be disappointed. That's not hardcore enough. It's not easy enough, or that we didn't do this or that. We've gotten to the point that any additional hype isn't servicing us well. So that's okay. That is, I don't know if I like the way they have that designed, because if they didn't have this gigantic thing in the middle, they wouldn't have separated the answers down here. But whatever. So I should be reading it this way. That's my bad, people. We'll go back to this. How do you handle player progression through so many different stages of the game? Each level has a particular goal that you are pursuing, and there's a progress bar at the bottom for every level showing how far you've progressed against that goal. Within each level, we have mission structures, which are incremental goals on the path towards the major goal. We have it on two levels. On the lowest level, things have motivations and health and things like that. But we also have very specific goals for each state to proceed to the next level. Obviously, this game emulates the evolution of life on Earth. The theory of evolution has been under fire in recent years. Do you see that this game is a commentary on that debate? I actually just bought a book on intelligent design. It's interesting to read what the arguments for intelligent design are. They totally leave out any numbers in terms of time. For example, the time between Cambrian explosion and when other forms of life diverge. If you have a timeline of how long it took, you get a totally different sense of it. There are so many millions of generations that life has had to evolve to where it is. Okay, now it all of a sudden makes sense. I just not very smart. So I've already read that, and now it makes way more sense. So I read this one. Are we promoting evolution? Spore has an interesting approach to the audience, allowing them to help create the world and populate your servers with creatures that can be shared but without allowing actual multiplayer. I was working on The Sims Online around the same time that I started Spore, and I saw a lot of issues in designing an online game. There are a lot of design limitations you have to work with. You have to give up a lot of cool things you have to do in a single player game. So I was trying to figure out, how do you get the benefits of an online game? All of these people are working collectively to build this huge shared world without the liabilities of an online game. That's not to say we won't do one later. We're definitely kicking around ideas about a multiplayer version of Spore would look like. Didn't they do like something else with Spore? I think Spore came out like Spore Creator maybe on the Wii. Anyway, How much of a design challenge is it to deal with all the custom content and the sheer amount of randomness that is introduced into the world? Well, you have to have firm distinctions when the players are going to make stuff between how much of that is going to be aesthetic versus functional. To keep the game balanced, you need to control the rough range of functional behavior in what they're making. Then, as we're populating, we want to be in control of what assets we're bringing into your world. We don't want creatures of tremendously higher powers to come in and kick your butt every time. But on the other hand, with the creature creator, we wanted to give players a wide aesthetic range. We didn't have to have a situation of this is the ultimate creature design, so don't bother creating anything else because this isn't going to win. So it's all about aesthetics. It's not about like, okay, good to know. Okay, so I already read about the high expectations and the pressure. Do you envision Spore being supported with a lot of expansion packs like The Sims has been? I think it will be similar in extent, but hopefully not the same strategy we took with The Sims. With The Sims, we were basically selling expansion packs to the same customers over and over. I think Spore lends itself more to horizontal expansion, where we take components of the game like levels or editors in totally different formats and hit people that would never even played the hardcore PC game, but would enjoy a lighter experience using one of its editors, or using the content in new ways outside of Spore the game. I think we're going to see Spore expanding in a much wider variety of ways than The Sims did, but to the same extent. Different systems, different game styles, things like that. Once you have this much content, there's a lot of things you can do with it, gaming and otherwise. Will writes long awaited Spore is one of most anticipated games in history. Oof, does not pan out. Grand design. Do you think this is in his studio? Do you think they took this picture in his studio? Or they went to like a photo shoot to do this? Connect Gear. I don't know what this is, but Sound Blaster XFI Titanium Fatality Professional Series sound card. This sound card might have a mouthful of a name, but it's also got an upper upperworthy set upperworthy set of pipes. I don't know. The new X5 Titanium cranks out full deep audio, creating a wonderful illusion of 3D sound even while using headphones. Voice chat and microphone support also benefit from the card's audio processing capabilities. If you need the upgrade, the Titanium produces large sound. So this is all PC stuff. I don't really know PC stuff, I'm going to be honest. Um, Blick Nintendo wall graphics. We're not judging, but maybe it's time to swap out those fan posters of Freddie Prinze Jr. Check out these wall graphics from Blick. Each of these Nintendo themed sets include 24 and 42 reusable decals that can be arranged to make life-size wall tableau of games like Super Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, and New Super Mario Brothers. Doesn't seem like they did a good job lining that up. So this is just all weird, like collectibles and stuff. Some more tech, a board game, statue, a figurine, basically. Uh, just fair variety of things that you can buy. Level up, evolving the active gaming world. I wonder what this is. Garth DeAngelis, producer, designer, The Winds of Orbis. I have no idea what this is. If you work in the industry and would like to share your opinion, contact senior editor Matt Helgeson. Anyway, International Track and Field, Dance Dance Revolution, iToy, Kinetic, Wii Sports, and now presenting Wii Fit. What does this broad representation of exercise gaming in industry? Okay. Yes, hi, Biscuit. Uh, what does yeah? Hi, yeah, hi. Do you want to come up? Would you like to come up? I'm trying to do something. Oh, don't run away. Don't I don't understand cats, guys. I don't understand cats. Would you just come here? Would you just come here? Would you just come here? Yes, yes. You. Oh, that's nice. You're the one who wanted this. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to this. International Track and Field and Dance. Okay, so we're talking about exercise gaming. They do a remarkable job of getting gamers off the couch, but there is an alternative way to reach a wider audience through active gaming. To address this question, there are two disparate themes I'd like to explore about existing exer games, components that these games excel at, having fun and fitness, and areas of opportunity, depth of gameplay, freedom, and story. First, the good. Many feel that active games are fun, including myself. Dance Dance Revolution and the Wii titles I mentioned are amongst the most commercially successful games ever released. Even most older Xer games, God, I hate that. Even most older Xer games upheld appreciative fan bases during their respective times. I still remember desperately trying to outrun the appropriately named cheetah and hurdles on the Nintendo Power Pad version of the world class track meet. Another bond that these titles share is an overarching fitness or workout theme that encourages non sedentary activity. Even through direct infrastructure, even through direct instruction from a virtual trainer, yourself, fitness and Wii Fit, or through an athletic skin, Wii Sports and Athens 2004, active games have been hesitant to break out of this safe yet admittedly logical mold. After all, if a game wants you to sweat, it's natural to imitate aspects of the real world that would accomplish this task, such as tennis, sprinting, and aerobics. Even DDR joins the follow the fitness and structure category in the guise of following arrows implicitly directing the player. This leads to a few areas of opportunities. One component that most traditional Xer games lack is deep gameplay, meaningful choices, and player creativity are kept to a minimum, limiting any sense of agency. How immersed can I truly feel if my choices are step up, down, left, right? Still, I'm not claiming that Xer games lose their appeal after a few playthroughs. For instance, many gamers many gamers have been addicted to DDR's simple, enjoyable mechanic for years. By deep gameplay, I'm referring to a breadth of options at the player's disposal and a discovery of new mechanics as the game evolves. Where are the active games with freedom of open world navigation and exploration? Games with intricacies that empower imaginative choices and player agency can lead to a longer, more compelling experience. This can inspire the player to persist and improve their virtual hero through a traditional leveling up and acquisition of abilities. But the most fascinating possibility is that the player will also be leveling up in real life by shedding pounds and toning muscle. Okay. Another opportunity in this industry is the implementation of emotional investment in active games. Most of these games lack any story other than the fitness element itself. But isn't it possible that there is a sector in the traditional gaming community waiting to be told a new kind of tale while absorbed in an active experience? Wouldn't it be cool to get lost in an immersive world with a narrative that compels you to continue playing as you burn calories without even thinking about exercise? Imagine An active experience built on the foundation of what many gamers originally fell in love with, a classic gaming paradigm that can be transcended generations such as Legend of Zelda or Final Fantasy. You're asking for a lot here, bud. According to the Entertainment Software Association, action adventure and RPGs accounted for 40% of all software sales in the industry in 2006. It seems feasible that there could be an untapped market that merges these hero on quest action adventure RPG games with active inputs. Obesity is at, as at Obesity is at an all-time high in the United States, both in adults and children. While there are many reasons for this disturbing fact, it's fair to conclude that sedentary nature of video games has played some unfortunate role in this trend. There is a hope though, as Nintendo has opened the floodgates with incredibly versatile Wii technology. However, any Twilight Princess or Wii Sports player will tell you that the infamous wrist flick is the most efficient way to play. Any meaningful upper body exercise is negligible. So anything be done. So can anything be done to address a new way to play traditional adventure video games that nets players' actual fitness results? I'm part of a seven I'm part of a 7-person graduate student team at Carnegie Mellon's Entertainment Technology Center (ETC) that is hoping to elucidate this issue. We pitched our project, The Winds of Orbis, as an active adventure to inspire and motivate video game loving children to play the kind of game they already value, action RPG, in a physical, productive manner. Nintendo actually does do this. I don't know if it's like that immersive of a story, but they do an RPG that this guy is talking about on the Switch. After meeting with various medical experts, we knew we had to incorporate a method to increase heart rate and cardiovascular activity. The answer was right in front of us with DDR Dance Pad. By combining the Nintendo Wii Remote with a redesigned floor input, the user interface was created that could allow gamers to sprint from threatening adversaries, jump over large chasms, and move their entire body dozens of ways in an open-ended fantasy world. Who didn't want to be Cloud Strife in Final Fantasy VII as he saved the planet? Like all classic game heroes, Cloud is cut and lean from traveling countless miles across countryside and engaging in hundreds of physical encounters with foes. Our vision is to enable gamers to connect even further with avatars like Cloud by stepping into their shoes and reaping the physical benefits. That's a bit much. By merging both physical and mental stimulation into flow, between gaming and exercise, we believe that active adventures will take that personal connection with a game to the next level. Dance Dance Revolution, Wii Fit, and iToy Kinetic, please acquaint yourselves with the likes of Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers, and Knights of the Old Republic. There's a beautiful marriage to be had. The views and opinions expressed on this page are strictly those of the author and not necessarily those of Game Informer magazine or its staff. So this was just like a person who wrote in and wanted to be featured. He basically was like, hey, what if somebody made a good active game? Velvet Assassin, World War II stealth action, Xbox 360 Live. I don't even know if you can still buy this. Beauty is the Beast. So this is just the September release schedule. Dominate the Desert, Baja, Edge of Control, Batman Arkham Asylum. Ooh, now we're getting into the meat of this. I'm actually going to do something because I only have I won't have time to do a full hour today. So I'm gonna skip that and I'll go back to it. Instead, I'm going to read some previews. Diablo 3, let's get into it. Diablo 3, I have already played this and ranked it. It's in my top 10. I can't remember where, but I know it's a top 10 game as of right now. Diablo 3 is really good. Whenever Blizzard announces a new game, it's an event. At this year's worldwide invitational in Paris, the esteemed developer revealed its next project, Diablo 3. While this demonic apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Blizzard is doing what it does best, refining the hell out of the design and polishing the gameplay until it sparkles. The general idea of clicking on monsters until they pop like loot pinatas hasn't changed. Likewise, randomly generated levels punctuated by set piece boss fights are back, with the addition of occasional scripted event. However, everything that surrounds those core tenets has gotten a makeover. A new health mechanic headlines the gameplay changes rather than recycling the potion chugging gameplay seen in most action RPG titles since the original Diablo. Diablo 3's monsters occasionally drop health orbs that restore a portion of your entire party's hit points when touched. As lead designer Jay Wilson explained it, the results in more exciting positional gameplay where players have an incentive to charge headlong into a pack of monsters to get the health they need. To try to lure the enemies away from the health orbs, ideally, this throws another twist into the endless hack and slash to keep the experience grind from becoming too repetitive. One of Blizzard's goals is to encourage players to use more than one or two skills that most past okay use one or two skills that most past Diablo character builds utilize. To facilitate this, a more modern MMORPG like interface replaces the Diablo's traditional two-button system. From what we saw, it closely resembles Titan Quest with a number of bound hotkeys and very clean, simplistic HUD, leaving the screen free to showcase the constant carnage. Wilson admitted to exploring a World of Warcraft-like customizable interface for Diablo 3, but the idea was ultimately rejected as adding unnecessary and undesirable complexity to what Blizzard envisions as a streamlined, more simplistic RPG. Blizzard refused to discuss character progression other than to say that the team is exploring several different ways of handling the acquisition and improvement of skills. Ultimately, the goal is to offer plenty of differentiation between the 5 hero classes, but the skill system specifics are still under wraps. The two classes Blizzard showcased, the Barbarian and Witch Doctor, which the Witch Doctor is what I played, seem like the kind of powerful, unique heroes that players expect out of Diablo. Leaping in and out of control and dispatching swarms of enemies with a giant hammer and dual-wielding axes, the Barbarian appears very similar to Diablo's 2 version. The Witch Doctor, by contrast, fights with the assistance of pets and disease and decay-based magical powers. Horrifying groups of monsters with a fear skill, bombing them with flobbed fireballs and swarming them in with plagues of locusts, which also spread of nearby enemies and Doctor's own pets, draining the life of baddies, augmenting the pets' attacks. The Witch Doctor is a fitting addition to the Diablo universe. Blizzard was mum on the identity of the final 3 classes. More so than in most other action RPGs, Diablo 3 has different enemy types working together to create new combat situations. We witness shield-bearing skeletons guarding highly dangerous archers, which were dispatched by first stunning them with a massive shockwave to remove the nigh impenetrable shields from the equation. Without the added protection, the soldiers and their archer compatriots were easily annihilated. Wilson stated that this sort of cooperation is something players will see throughout the quest. Blizzard's consistently excellent art direction continues to wring the best presentation possible out of their rendering technology. The graphics speak for themselves, though you have to see the game in motion to truly appreciate how much the smooth animations, environmental destruction, and integrated havoc physics help bring the world to life. Sending a zombie flying into a wall and watching its limbs flail lifelessly as it crashes to the ground is much more visceral and immediate than seeing yet Another pre-canned death animation. For our money, the Diablo 3 first look was worth the wait. Now we just have to endure the months, hopefully not years, between seeing this glimpse of the game and playing it for ourselves. So that is Diablo 3. It does come out and it is very good. But with that, I'm going to call it an early episode. I have to do a few things before work. Namely, I definitely need to take care of my garbage. I've forgotten the last couple of weeks, so I'm like, I gotta do it this week. So, thank you. You know what? No. So, hey, I remembered to switch the camera. So, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.